My name is Susan Wheeler, and I'm a current member of the Communist Party USA. My father was driven out of government service work, and my mother, who worked for the Army Map Service. They returned to Washington State, which was home state for both of them. The economy took a nosedive, so at that point my parents took all their assets and turned it into a dairy farm up in Washington State. They bought a dairy farm in Sequim, Washington. Growing up in a communist family was a wonderful experience. We were very close, and I think that my first political consciousness came out of cultural things. A great collection of jazz records and classical music that we listened to all the time. We had one of those old Victrolas that we could wind up and listen to music, and I listened to it for hours. We all did. And I can remember my parents telling me about the tragedy of Bessie Smith and how she was in a car accident down south, and she was bleeding to death, and she would have lived except that the white hospital refused to accept her, and they had to keep driving to get to a black hospital, and she died. And that was, impressed upon me as a tragedy of the racism in our country. And the Communist Party had the view that society today was a matter of struggle between the proletariat, the working class, the industrial working class especially, and the ruling class, which were the capitalists. And there were periods of time when communists were forced to go underground, or to go into the closet, essentially. You would use your understanding, your worldview, your understanding of how politics works to help people develop their struggles, but you were always openly advocating, a certain worldview, but you didn't necessarily call yourself a communist. They were very early in recognizing the importance of the race issue in this country, and to realize that dividing people along racial lines was part of a strategy to break up the working class and prevent it from prevailing on struggles of interest to them. The government, which is mostly made up of representatives of the capitalist class, has tremendous control over the media and impact on the court systems and so on. It was the Rosenberg case where they finally were able to put together a frame-up case against the Rosenbergs. The Rosenbergs were communists. They were sympathetic to the Soviets. They did want to see German fascism defeated. But essentially they were tried and convicted for their political beliefs and executed. And I remember standing around our old vacuum-tubed radio in our kitchen and listening as they announced that the Rosenbergs had been executed. And I thought, a government that would frame up two lovely people like this, parents of two children, and convict them on trumped up evidence and execute them against worldwide protest. A government that will do that will do anything. I think that now the function that, making the communists the scapegoat and the bad guys is being filled by this whole idea of terrorists. I mean, they used to call communists terrorists. I think there's quite a bit of evidence that there are connections between the clique that's in power in this country right now and some of this terrorist activity that's going on. I mean, the ties between the Bush family and the bin Laden family have been well documented in major newspapers and on the internet in this country. So it's like we've got an enemy that's being created by the class enemy. I don't think I would prefer to grow up in a different, more normal American family. I think that all the highs in my life have been connected with political struggle, and I have no regrets, and my family remains close and with a deep understanding and commitment to each other, and commitment to the world and to social justice. So I have no regrets.